Liam Connors watched from his Toronto apartment as the sky above turned a menacing shade of crimson. The world held its breath while a colossal alien fleet materialized, casting shadows over the cityscape. The Zolthar, an advanced extraterrestrial race, transmitted their ultimatum to every corner of the globe: immediate surrender or face annihilation. Moments later, a blinding beam reduced the Eiffel Tower to rubble, sending a clear and terrifying message. In the ensuing chaos, Liam's phone buzzed with an urgent message from an old military contact, urging him to resist. His mind raced, the memories of his past military service colliding with his current life as an engineer. He knew that surrender wasn't an option. Liam quickly reached out to Dr. Isabel Hart, a renowned astrophysicist and his closest confidant. Isabel's calm yet intense demeanor provided a stark contrast to the turmoil around them. "We can't just roll over," Liam insisted, his voice steady despite the panic in his eyes. "There must be a way to fight back." Isabel nodded, her mind already working through the possibilities. "We need to understand their technology," she said. "Find a way to exploit it." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Captain David Reynolds, a grizzled veteran with a reputation for defying the odds. He had heard the call to resist and knew Liam's strategic mind could be humanity's best hope. "The world's governments have already surrendered," David said grimly. "But we don't have to." The trio quickly formed the nucleus of a resistance group. They knew they needed more than just willpower, they needed a plan. The cryptic message Liam had received hinted at a vulnerability in the Zolthar's technology. Isabel and Liam pored over the data, seeking a way to turn the tide. In the dim light of their makeshift headquarters, an abandoned subway station, the group began to grow. Volunteers trickled in, each bringing unique skills. Among them was Marcus, a young technician with a knack for hacking, and Sarah, a former intelligence officer with invaluable insights into enemy tactics. As the days turned into weeks, the resistance prepared for their first operation. Captain Reynolds drilled the recruits in guerrilla tactics, emphasizing stealth and precision. The plan was simple yet daring: infiltrate a Zolthar command post and gather intelligence. Tensions ran high as the group set out on their mission. The city was under constant surveillance, with Zolthar drones patrolling the skies. The resistance moved through the shadows, hearts pounding, as they approached their target. Marcus's hacking skills proved invaluable, disabling security systems and granting them entry. Inside the command post, they discovered the Zolthar's reliance on a central communication network. Isabel quickly deduced that disrupting this network could sow chaos among the invaders. The team gathered as much data as they could before making their escape. Their return to the base was met with a mix of relief and anxiety. They had struck a blow, but it was only the beginning. The information they had stolen needed to be analyzed, and a new plan formulated. One night, as Liam and Isabel worked late deciphering the alien data, they stumbled upon a critical weakness. The Zolthar's communication network was vulnerable to a specific frequency disruption. This discovery could change everything. But before they could celebrate, alarms blared. Zolthar troops were sweeping the city, closing in on their location. The resistance scrambled to evacuate, their hard-earned information clutched tightly. Liam led the group through a series of underground tunnels, his mind racing with possibilities and the weight of their mission. As they emerged into the night, the city's skyline was a reminder of the stakes. They had found a way to fight back, but the journey ahead was fraught with danger. With the Zolthar closing in, they knew every step forward would require cunning, bravery, and sacrifice. Liam took a deep breath, looking at his comrades. "This is our chance," he said quietly but firmly. "We have to make it count." The city remained eerily silent as Liam Connors led his team through the abandoned subway tunnels. Their recent narrow escape from the Zolthar patrol had only fueled their determination. Isabel Hart, ever resourceful, had set up a temporary operations center deep underground. The dim glow of her laptop illuminated her focused expression as she pored over the alien data they had retrieved. Liam leaned over her shoulder. "Any luck deciphering their systems?" he asked, his voice a low murmur to avoid drawing attention. Isabel nodded slowly. "I found a way into their communication network. If we can disrupt it, we could throw their entire operation into disarray. But it's a delicate process. One mistake, and they'll trace it back to us." Captain David Reynolds, standing guard near the entrance, overheard their conversation. "We need a distraction," he said, his grizzled features hardening. Something to keep their eyes off us while we work. Liam considered this. Agreed. We can split into 2 teams. One will execute the hack while the other creates a diversion. David gave a curt nod. I'll lead the diversion team. We'll draw as much attention as we can, give you the time you need. They quickly assembled their teams. Marcus, the young technician, joined Liam and Isabel for the hacking mission, his nimble fingers already at work on his portable device. Sarah, the former intelligence officer, would go with David, using her knowledge of enemy tactics to outmaneuver the Zolthar forces. As they prepared to move out, Liam gathered them for a final word. This is it. We're striking back. Stick to the plan, stay safe, and we'll get through this. With a last exchange of determined looks, the team split up. Liam's group navigated deeper into the tunnels, emerging in the basement of an abandoned building near the city center. The proximity to a Zolthar command post made it the ideal location for their hacking attempt. Marcus set up his equipment, and Isabel began the intricate task of infiltrating the alien network. Liam kept watch, his senses on high alert for any signs of trouble. The minutes stretched on, each one a test of their nerves and resolve. Meanwhile, David and Sarah's team set about their diversion. They moved through the city, planting makeshift explosives and creating disturbances. Every detonation echoed through the streets, drawing the Zolthar's attention and forces away from the critical points. Back in the basement, Isabel's fingers flew over the keyboard. I'm in, she whispered. Starting the disruption now. Suddenly, the room was bathed in red light as alarms blared. The Zolthar had detected the breach. They know we're here, Marcus said, his voice tight with fear. Keep going, Liam urged. We're almost there. Outside, David and Sarah's team faced increasing pressure. The Zolthar troops closed in, their movements precise and relentless. Sarah used her knowledge of the city's layout to lead them through a series of narrow alleys and back streets, evading capture by the narrowest margins. Inside, Isabel fought to maintain the hack, her face a mask of concentration. Almost done, she muttered. Just a few more seconds. The building shook as a Zolthar patrol breached the perimeter. Liam drew his weapon, ready to defend their position. Hurry, Isabel, he urged, his eyes scanning the room for any signs of the enemy. Finally, Isabel hit the final key. It's done, she said, exhaling in relief. Their network is in chaos. Liam grabbed their equipment. Time to move. We need to get out of here before they swarm us. The team hurried back into the tunnels, the sound of approaching Zolthar troops growing louder behind them. They navigated the labyrinthine passages, emerging into the night far from their original entry point. Reuniting with David and Sarah, they shared a moment of triumph and exhaustion. The diversion team had managed to evade capture, though they bore the marks of a fierce struggle. David's jacket was torn, and Sarah's face was smeared with dirt and sweat. Nice work, Liam said, clapping David on the shoulder. We've bought ourselves some time. David gave a weary smile. We'll need it. They'll be more vigilant now. Isabel held up a small device, the data drive containing the fruits of their labor. We did it. Their command network is in disarray. This will give us a chance to strike at their core. As they made their way back to their hidden base, the significance of their achievement began to sink in. They had taken a crucial step forward, but the road ahead remained perilous. Each member of the team knew that the fight was far from over. The underground base buzzed with urgency as the resistance members processed the data they had stolen from the Zolthar. Liam Connors stood at the center, directing activities with a focused intensity. The discovery of a vulnerability in the alien communication network had given them a crucial advantage, and now it was time to act. Isabel Hart worked tirelessly, her fingers flying over the keyboard. She had already begun the intricate process of crafting a virus that could disrupt the Zolthar's systems. We need to strike soon, she said without looking up. Their patrols are getting more aggressive. They know we're here somewhere. Captain David Reynolds joined them, a grim expression on his face. Our scouts report increased Zolthar activity in the north. They're sweeping the area methodically. We don't have much time. Liam nodded. We'll hit their command center tonight. If we can disable their communications, it will create the chaos we need to make further strategic moves. The plan was bold and risky, but there was no other choice. As night fell, the team assembled their gear and prepared for the mission. They divided into two groups. The main force, led by Liam, would infiltrate the command center, while a smaller team, led by David, would create diversions to draw the Zolthar's attention. As they moved through the darkened streets, Marcus, the young technician, whispered to Liam. "I've rigged these devices to amplify the signal disruption. We'll need to place them at key points around the command center." Liam clapped him on the shoulder. "Good work, Marcus. Stay close and follow my lead." Reaching the outskirts of the command center, they encountered their first challenge, a heavily guarded perimeter. Liam signaled for silence and led the team through a series of abandoned buildings, their footsteps muffled by the dirt-covered floors. They watched the patrols, timing their movements to slip past unnoticed. Inside the command center's courtyard, Liam motioned for Isabel and Marcus to start setting up the devices. He watched as they worked, every second feeling like an hour. The team moved with practiced efficiency, each member knowing their role and executing it flawlessly. Suddenly, a Zolthar patrol appeared around the corner. Liam reacted instantly, taking down the first alien silently with a well-placed blow. The rest of the team quickly dispatched the others, dragging their bodies out of sight. "Keep moving," Liam urged. "We're on a tight schedule." As they entered the main building, the team split up to plant the remaining devices. Liam and Isabel headed to the central control room, where they could access the mainframe. The corridors were eerily quiet, the hum of alien machinery the only sound. In the control room, Isabel connected her laptop to the main terminal, initiating the upload of the virus. Liam stood guard, his senses alert for any sign of trouble. Minutes stretched on, each one fraught with the risk of discovery. David's team, meanwhile, had begun their diversionary tactics. Explosions rocked the outer defenses, drawing Zolthar forces away from the command center. Sarah, using her knowledge of enemy patterns, led the diversions with precision, ensuring maximum disruption. Back in the control room, the upload was nearly complete. Suddenly, alarms blared, and the room was bathed in harsh red light. The Zolthar had detected the intrusion. "We're out of time," Isabel said urgently. "We need to go, now." Liam grabbed her arm, and they raced back towards the exit, their path now fraught with danger as Zolthar soldiers poured into the building. The rest of the team converged at the designated rendezvous point, their expressions tense but determined. As they made their escape, the planted devices activated, sending waves of disruption through the Zolthar network. Communications faltered, and the organized movements of the alien troops devolved into chaos. It was working, but the cost was high. During their retreat, Marcus was hit by enemy fire, and Liam had to carry him to safety. The young technician's face was pale, but his resolve remained strong. "We did it," he whispered. "We really did it." Reaching their extraction point, the team regrouped and took stock of their situation. They had succeeded, but the mission had taken its toll. The wounded were treated, and the mood was somber yet resolute. As they settled into their temporary hideout, Liam addressed the group. "We've dealt a significant blow to the Zolthar tonight. Their confusion will buy us time to plan our next move. This is just the start of our fight back." Isabel added, "We've proven that they're not invincible. We can hurt them, and we will keep pushing until they're driven from our world." The team's morale lifted at her words. They knew the road ahead was still fraught with danger, but for the first time, they felt a real sense of possibility. Their success had shown that victory, though distant, was attainable. The hidden base was filled with a quiet intensity as Liam Connors and his team prepared for their final mission. The recent disruptions to the Zolthar's communication network had bought them time, but the aliens were regrouping faster than expected. Liam knew they had to strike decisively to maintain their advantage. Isabel Hart was at the center of the preparations, her keen mind orchestrating the final touches on their plan. "We've pinpointed the location of the Zolthar command ship," she said, her voice steady. "If we can disable it, we'll cut off their leadership and force a retreat." Captain David Reynolds reviewed the layout of the enemy's stronghold. "Their defenses are tight, but we have a window of opportunity during their shift change. We go in fast, plant the charges, and get out." The team, battle-hardened and resolute, gathered their gear and set out under the cover of night. They moved through the city's shadowy ruins, each step bringing them closer to the heart of the alien occupation. Marcus, despite his injuries from the last mission, insisted on joining them. His technical expertise was crucial for bypassing the advanced security systems. As they approached the command ship, Liam's pulse quickened. The massive vessel loomed above them, an ominous symbol of the Zolthar's might. He signaled for the team to halt and surveyed the entrance. Guards patrolled in a methodical pattern, their alien forms sleek and menacing. Sarah, using her skills from her intelligence background, studied their movements. We have a 3-minute window between patrols. We'll have to be quick and silent. The team slipped through the perimeter, their movements synchronized and silent. Inside the command ship, the air was filled with a low hum from the alien machinery. Liam led them through the labyrinthine corridors, each turn bringing them closer to their objective. They reached the central control room, where the core of the Zolthar's operations was located. Isabel and Marcus immediately got to work, hacking into the system to plant their virus. Liam and David stood guard, their senses heightened for any sign of detection. Minutes ticked by, the tension thick in the air. Suddenly, an alert flashed on the control panel. "We've been detected," Isabel said, her voice urgent. "We need to finish this now." Liam's mind raced. "David, take half the team and create a diversion. Draw them away from us." David nodded and led his group out, their movements swift and deliberate. Explosions soon rocked the ship, the lights flickering as the Zolthar responded to the threat. Liam could hear the distant sounds of combat, knowing that his friends were risking their lives to buy them time. Isabel and Marcus worked feverishly, their fingers dancing over the controls. "Almost there," Marcus muttered, sweat beading on his forehead. Liam's grip tightened on his weapon. "Stay focused. We're not leaving without finishing this." Finally, the virus was uploaded, and the command ship systems began to falter. Alarms blared, and the ship shuddered as its internal mechanisms fought against the malicious code. "It's done," Isabel said, a mixture of relief and urgency in her voice. "We need to get out of here before it collapses." The team regrouped and raced through the corridors, the ship's structure groaning under the strain of the virus. They met up with David's team, battered but alive, and together they made their way to the exit. As they emerged into the open air, the command ship began to implode, a cascade of explosions ripping through its core. Liam watched as the massive vessel crumbled, a sense of grim satisfaction settling over him. They had struck a devastating blow to the Zolthar, but the cost had been high. He turned to his team, their faces weary but resolute. "We did it," he said quietly. "But this isn't over. We need to regroup and prepare for their next move." Isabel placed a hand on his shoulder. "We've shown them that we won't back down. This is a turning point. We need to keep pushing." The team nodded, their resolve unshaken despite the hardships. They knew the fight was far from over, but they had proven that they could stand against the invaders. As they made their way back to their hidden base, the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, casting a new glow on their war-torn world. Liam felt a renewed sense of hope. They had dealt a significant blow to the Zolthar, and now they had to build on that momentum. The battle for Earth's freedom was far from finished, but with every step, they moved closer to reclaiming their home.